Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here on this very special and beautiful day. We couldn't have asked for a better day for this. I'm Mike Eister. I chair the Lane Community College Board of Education, and we're here to name and dedicate the heart of the Lane Community College main campus in honor and memory of Lane's founding president, Dr. Dale Parnell. While I didn't personally know Dale, I know that every day I've served on the LCC board and have lived in the community, Dale's vision has touched my life and the lives of countless community college students throughout the nation. I'm very happy to share this moment. The board unanimously passed a resolution in March of 2018 to ensure that this day would occur. I want to thank one of today's speakers for drafting the resolution. That is Pat Albright, former board member, who is a personal friend of Dale's. The resolution captures Dale's devotion to the advancement of education from his earliest days in the Springfield public school system to his illustrious career as a longtime visionary CEO of the American Association of Community Colleges. He was also superintendent of public instruction for Oregon, an Oregon Community College commissioner, chancellor of San Diego Schools, and founder of the Western Center for Community College Development at Oregon State University. Among other things, he had an illustrious career. His book, The Neglected Majority, reflected on the neglected students in the American education system and shaped the success of the community college movement in our country. Today we have a book about Dale, The Parnell Years, written by Larry Romine, Lane's first public relations director, and a buddy of Dale's. Thank you to the Lane Archives for providing some complimentary copies of that book. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Lane's seventh president, Dr. Margaret Hamilton. Marge, as she lets us call her, is just starting her second year as CEO of Lane Community College. This is her first presidency, and she has done just a phenomenal job in her first year. Before Lane, she was vice president at Camden County College in New Jersey. We are thrilled and fortunate to have Marge Hamilton in the seat that Dale Parnell once occupied. Like Dale, she has devoted her 30-year career to community colleges. I'm sure Dale would be happy and proud. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Hamilton to the podium.
Thank you, Mike. I'm very delighted to see so many people here with us today. It's truly a special event for Lane to name this building in honor of its founder, Dale Parnell. Student success was Dr. Parnell's vision, and our student paper had asked about his background and why this building. That's why, because this is a student success building, and that was the vision back in the 60s. So it was his advocacy, his enthusiasm that led to the formation of this college 54 years ago, almost to the day, October 19th. So Dale Parnell was a lifelong champion of community colleges. Just about everyone in higher education has heard of Dale, including me. Even in my work 3,000 miles away, he was an icon, a legend. It is a very true statement when people say that about your dad. He dreamed of forming local community colleges while he was still a principal in Springfield High School, and you're going to hear more about that in a few minutes. Following his presidency here in 1968, he was appointed state superintendent of public instruction by the then governor, Tom McCall. Then later in '74, he became chancellor of San Diego Community College and then went on to become president of San Joaquin Delta Community College. But there was even a bigger calling for Dr. Parnell on this newly minted national stage of community colleges. In 1981, he became the CEO of the American Association of Community Colleges, and over the next 10 years, he made significant contributions to community colleges and the people we serve. In his 1985 book titled The Neglected Majority, Dr. Parnell made the case for people who needed an affordable education and job training, something that this board wrestles with even today. The AACC used that book to develop legislative language for tech prep associate degree programs. These were programs that strengthened bridges between our high schools and our colleges. Dale went on to create a blueprint for the future of community colleges in an AACC publication called Building Communities, A Vision for the Next Century, offering frank dialogue about the future of colleges and how we need to deal more with partnerships, using classroom as community. After a highly regarded career at AACC, Dale returned to Oregon and served as Oregon's Community College Commissioner. But he wasn't done yet. He then went on to establish the Western Center for Community College Development at Oregon State University in 1992, where community leaders would earn advanced degrees in preparation for becoming tomorrow's leaders of community colleges. He taught in that program before retiring in 1997, and yes, even in retirement, he continued to teach. He was a visiting professor at University of South Florida. Dr. Parnell worked tirelessly for community colleges, beginning with his first presidency in '65, right on through 34 years of serving community colleges. We cannot begin to count the thousands of lives he has touched here and across this country, and his legacy still stands today. It is a very proud day for us to gather here and dedicate this campus center in his memory. So, it is now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, someone with roots, I hear, back to the same fertile ground that gave us Dr. Parnell. So please help me welcome our former Springfield High School teacher, former Lane Community College Board of Education member, and former board chair, Mr. Pat Albright.
There are a lot of formers in there. That's kind of the way I like it. I'm now retired. So before I start, let me also introduce another board member who just showed up late. Not uncommon, but he's a busy man, Matt Keating. So also, I was going to just, before I get into my actual comments, commend Dennis Shine for inviting me to go and join the board to replace Larry Romine, who had written the book about Dale Parnell. And so we met and exchanged books and the like. We were both of the same ilk. But let me begin. President Hamilton, Chair Eister, board members, Susie, Matt, and especially the family of Dale Parnell, Sue, Teresa, Paul, Stephen, okay, and Tim. Okay, got you all. Friends and staff of Lane Community College, I want you to know that I am honored to be with you today as we christen this building the Dale P. Parnell Center for Learning and Student Success. When Dale came to Springfield High School in 1952 as a coach and a teacher, he was already well-versed in the diversity of life. He was a biology teacher. He understood all of that. He knew the science of life. Then at Springfield, he learned about the diversity that can be life at a public high school. He learned that SHS was not a school like South Eugene that historically put out more merit scholars than any other schools in the region. He became aware that measuring the excellence of a school by the number of merit scholars was a false metric. Comparing schools by such a limited measure did not take into account the diverse socioeconomic differences. I learned that when I moved as a teacher from South Eugene to Springfield in 1977. You may remember Springburg, Springtucky, et cetera, the old saw was that things were different there. While South graduated unquestionably quality students and had quality programs, I became immediately impressed with the quality of education provided the Millers across the highway. Former South principal and later Thurston High principal Wayne Hill said it succinctly. What Springfield did was take lead and turned it into silver. What South did was took gold and polished it. The magical alchemy performed by Springfield teachers on their diverse population was nothing short of miraculous. In 1954, Dale assumed the new position of vice principal of SHS, and then in 1956, he became the school's principal. The Springfield faculty worked diligently to meet the academic and vocational needs of their students. The teachers were keenly aware that only about 20% of their students went on to four-year colleges. But what about the other 80%? The large number of students identified in Dale Parnell's seminal book, The Neglected Majority. Parnell consulted with his staff, his former colleagues. Together they consulted on how they could meet the diverse needs of their students. Dale said in a commentary in 1998, it's in your book, few people know that the early thinking about starting Lane Community College began with the faculty at Springfield High School. The discussions also strengthened the foundations of the Springfield High Vocational Program that continues today as one of the most comprehensive in the state. In 1960, Dale moved to a larger stage where he could communicate with the entire region when he became superintendent of Lane County Schools. He used his voice through the megaphone of a county position, and the voters responded favorably. The result was Lane Community College. Dale was a leader and in ways a visionary. I think he saw a world that could be and then moved toward that vision. Motivated by practicality, Christian values, and a unique brand of humanity, he laid the foundation for a new center for learning and student success and molded the beginnings of Lane Community College. In recent years, LCC has renovated the old center building that Dale built, thanks to voters who approved the funds, much like they did 50 years ago, to establish in their community a center for learning and the kind of student success that can be found in 2 years or less of concerted effort. That building, now more than 50 years old, has received a facelift, and it is still being well used as a center for learning and student success. It's only proper that it prominently bears the name Dale P. Parnell and all that it stands for. The Dr. Dale P. Parnell Center for Learning and Student Success will continue to remind everyone of their potential. It will continue to be a community resource used for fellowship, food, and for the future. It is fitting and proper that we celebrate today. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to introduce one of my former colleagues on the board, Susie Johnston.
Thank you, Pat. Oh, good. It's really a deep honor to have met Dale Parnell's family and be able to have the privilege to read a speech sent in by Dr. Mary Spildy. So these are her words. Greetings from Barcelona. What a great way and a day to honor our founding president, Dr. Dale Parnell. I regret that I can't be there to celebrate with the college and Dr. Parnell's family. I've been fulfilling a long-held dream of walking the Camino de Santiago in Spain. It was arduous, spiritual, and fulfilling experience, and I am having a few days of rest before returning to Oregon next week. What can I say about Dale Parnell? I met him in 1984 when I attended my first AACC convention. My president at the time, Tom Gonzalez, introduced me to Dale, and I have vivid memories of him with Beverly at his side, welcoming everybody in a very personal way to the convention. Since this was before it came to Lane, the significance of his being the founding president did not hit me until years later when I became president myself. But even before he played a role in my life as a mentor and a role model. I remember sitting in Minneapolis with Dr. Charles Carpenter from Oregon State and Dale, discussing what was needed in a community college leadership program for working with professionals. Dale stayed true to his within reach philosophy, arguing for a program that would allow students to stay in their jobs while earning a doctorate. Soon after, he joined the faculty of OSU, and I was lucky enough to talk him into being on my doctoral committee. I can honestly say that if it were not for Dale, I would not have finished. I had been toiling for several years, working full-time, raising children without the benefit of the program that Dale and others designed. Dale took me aside and he said, "Mary, here's how you write a dissertation. It's how I write my books. I get up early and I start writing, and I write for at least an hour. I don't critique, I just write. And that's what I did. It was a privilege to be able to defend that dissertation with Dale in the room. Shortly after coming to OSU, Governor Barbara Roberts recruited him to the Commission of Community Colleges. Since I was working with the governor on education policy, I was honored to work with Dale. Sorry, Dale. At the state level, and subsequently, we were both appointed to the Oregon Workforce Quality Council, a precursor to the Workforce Investment Boards, and responsible for policy of all of education K-12. I will never forget Dale's commitment to my career and technical education and the community college roles in that endeavor. And then, when I became president of Lane in 2001, I will never forget Dale's ongoing support and counsel. I talked with him frequently and always tried to live out his philosophy within reach, geographically, financially, psychologically, and academically. I remember him telling this story. I don't know if it's apple. Thank you. Or not. But it's a good story. For all his love of the vocation, Dale believed in the liberal arts. When Lane was developing plans for the Performance Hall and the Division of Arts, he met some resistance. People told him they had supported the creation of the college because of its focus was going to be on trades and vocations. Dale went to Rotary and Kiwanis and all the critter clubs and made the case for why all students deserve to be exposed to the arts so that they would be well-rounded citizens, not just workers. Apparently, Ed Ragazzino, for whom our performance hall is named, was staging his first musical theater performance. Dale told him to go find a vocational student for the lead role so that he could prove his point. That's what Ed did, and my recollection of the story is that a student from automotive gave a dazzling performance. Dale was a constant supporter, attending our 40th and 50th college anniversaries and lots in between. I enjoyed many visits with Dale and Beverly at their home in Salem. I always came away having learned something. Dale and Beverly both lived their values: commitment to community colleges, commitment to their family, commitment to their faith. What a privilege to have known them. Today, I celebrate from afar, knowing intimately the legacy that Dr. Parnell left at Lane Community College. It's such a fitting way to recognize and remember a great educator and a humble man. Thank you all for coming, and it's my job now to turn the microphone over, and I'm going to do that to Sue if you would like, please, and she'll take over.
I think two of us are going to talk here. So the one who is currently in a community college setting right now. But just a few things. Lots of appreciation to everyone who is here, most especially Pat, who got the ball rolling, and how many emails later. It's just been a privilege to be in communication with he and with Donna as well. So thank you very much, and President Hamilton as well. This is really an honor, and we are humbled by this, all we Parnells. Just a little bit about us. Education is in our DNA. We didn't have a choice. We were going to be educated no matter what. We didn't have options. And just to let you know, Mary Spildy's her comments were really noteworthy. I got my doctorate after Mary at Oregon State when Dad was my teacher, and so I had to really behave myself, and that was very, very cool to hear that. We are all honored to be here. This is our roots. I mean, we grew up here on this land, and when Will Gagne sold this after they passed the bond, you need to know we knew him, and Bob, my husband, washed his airplane at the Springfield airport. I mean, we have so many fond memories. I mean, this is where we grew up, and we can't believe that not one of us lives here. It's pretty amazing. But we are honored. We are privileged. This is wonderful. Dad and Mom are looking down and saying, all right, go guys. And what an honor. And so thank you so much. So Paul is the only one currently working in community colleges. So he's a chancellor, so he's really important.
Thank you. That's a very nice compliment. As I look out here, I've lots of friends. I've met Phil as we've done foundation kinds of work, meeting former board members, and Pat, the work you've done, Mike, the work you've done, and President Hamilton, pleasure to meet you and feel that same kind of spirit that we all have in the other board members, Matt. And nice they acknowledge you when you come in late. I do that to all of my board members up at Fresno. It doesn't help me out, Madam President, but I do that. Susie, nice to share stories with you. Our resident storyteller is Bob Shields in here, and so if you give him the mic, your problem is there are about 7 or 8 of us, and if you give any one of us the mic, then you can all drift off, and we'll just talk with each other like we did last night, playing games and having fun and telling stories about our family. I will tell you, Mary's not here, but if you'll pass on, Chuck Carpenter was on my doctoral committee. Tom Gonzalez was on my doctoral committee, the names that she mentioned. He was the president over here at Lynn Benton Community College. When I got my doctorate, I was teaching at Oregon State at the time. So it is an honor to be here. I have so many things to say. I don't want to bore you with too many stories, but I do have a couple of things that I think probably the biggest legacy for Dale Parnell. He would love this. He did have I was mentioned his faith and family, and that's really what we were all about. We were a tight family, are a tight family. We are a bunch of educators, the poor 17 grandkids. We have David he was the nominated one of the 17 that had to show up today whether he wanted to or not. He's our super auto technician. Whenever we have car problems, David is the one we go to. Yeah, he can sing as well. But anyway, now the 2 things we talk about, the poor grandkids, the 17, is education. So we talk about tech prep and about how people can learn and how they can succeed. And the grandkids, they go off and go other places and have fun and things like that. But actually, a lot of them are educators. We have coaches and teachers, special education teachers in all that group. And so it's been our occupation and our trade and what we do, and we're proud to do it. And we love our students. We love your students here because they're our father, Papa, we called him. His vision was that everybody got a fair chance, and we tell stories. I'll tell you, when you tell stories, you know it increases. We did some chemical stuff. It increases the production of oxytocin in your brain. I know you know that the biology people and so on. And you know that oxytocin is the chemical in your brain. It's called the love potion that makes you feel love towards other people. So the more stories we tell, that we share with each other, the greater affiliation, affection we have for each other and the mission and the job that we're involved in. So Susie and I, if you don't mind, she was telling me a story just before we got up here about a relative that she had. And that relative was in North Dakota, I believe, and he was like a millionaire farmer, wealthy farmer in North Dakota, retired. And so, and this does have some relevance to it's the spirit that my dad had in his faith as a Christian, a believer. And he was non-judgmental Christian. He believed that everybody should have great opportunities. But her uncle, I think it was, and he retired, and he went to work as a janitor in the local school. And so she came to him and said, why you know, what, you're a millionaire. Well, you don't need to. Why are you doing that? Why are you going to a school to work? And he said, because those kids need someone. They need someone to encourage them, to help them do something. That was what my dad was, and I think we are. We're encouragers that everyone has great potential. They have the potential to succeed. And this building and this whole campus and all of the programs you have are what our communities need. It's what we need. We're still dedicated to that. And so keep on keeping on. There is no doubt when that wind blew through, that was my dad and mom's spirit. And they were coming through here saying, the work's not done. We need to keep doing. Board members, you need to keep pushing us to be as good as we can be, and we need to make sure our community has that kind of great success. As Sue said, I think if you get any of us talking, that we can talk for a long time, especially Bob. Do not give Bob the mic. But he does have the stories. But I tell my family how much I appreciate the love we have for our family, love for education. This honor is really an honor to our parents, and it was nice that you called us so we could all get together, and we've had more fun than you can imagine. We're over a few glasses of wine and a lot of stories. So thank you for this honor. We wish you well. We're with you in spirit, and we'll come back and look at this sign.
So much. Thank you so much. Hug.
What wonderful stories and memories, and thank you for sharing those. I'm sure that Dale is smiling on us right now. It's now my privilege to officially pronounce the new official title of the heart of Lane Community College's main campus in honor of our gifted, visionary, remarkable founding president. Ladies and gentlemen, and all in attendance, please join me in a round of applause to christen the Dale P. Parnell Center for Learning and Student Success. Christen. So thank you, everyone. This concludes our formal presentation. Enjoy the rest of your day, and join me in continuing Dale's legacy to provide educational and workforce training opportunities to our students and community. There is a private luncheon for family and invited guests in the Ren Room, and we'll be starting that up very soon. Thank you again.
Thank you.